savory notes. Matches really well with tequilas or bourbons. Yeah, it's really a nice savory. Even it's pushing the edge of just being a savory cocktail on its own, not even necessarily a Bloody Mary, but it is tomato juice based.
All right, Charles. So let's talk about some of these products you brought here. What is this one?
So that is my Thai basil Bloody Mary mix. That one was developed over at Nong Bistro in St. Paul. I was sitting over a bowl of pho, trying to think of more fun and different and unique ideas for Bloody Marys, and it just was natural. Like it's got great. We got a bunch of Thai basil in there, so we have that pho soup broth base, which is like cinnamon, Chinese 5-spice, a little cardamom, ginger, some lime, some lemongrass. That one's got a lot of savory notes. Matches really well with tequilas or bourbons. Yeah, it's really a nice savory. Even it's pushing the edge of just being a savory cocktail on its own, not even necessarily a Bloody Mary, but it is tomato juice based.
All right, Charles. So let's talk about some of these products you brought here. What is this one?
So that is my Thai basil Bloody Mary mix. That one was developed over at Nong Bistro in St. Paul. I was sitting over a bowl of pho, trying to think of more fun and different and unique ideas for Bloody Marys, and it just was natural. Like it's got great. We got a bunch of Thai basil in there, so we have that pho soup broth base, which is like cinnamon, Chinese 5-spice, a little cardamom, ginger, some lime, some lemongrass. That one's got a lot of savory notes. Matches really well with tequilas or bourbons. Yeah, it's really a nice savory. Even it's pushing the edge of just being a savory cocktail on its own, not even necessarily a Bloody Mary, but it is tomato juice based.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for coming back to the Black and Rich Podcast with your host, Rich Berkley. This podcast is designed for Black businesses and entrepreneurs to learn how to get in business, stay in business, and be able to pass down generational wealth. Forbes reported during the pandemic that 50% of Black businesses closed. I want to make sure that this time around we build stronger businesses that are able to resist pandemics or whatever else comes next. This week, we have a mentor of mine, great person, great businessman, Charles LoveJoy. He runs LoveJoy's Bloody Mary mix, which I have here and been drinking. I didn't even think I liked Bloody Marys before I had his mix. I'm very excited about this episode, and I hope you enjoy it. Thank you. Well, Charles, thanks for joining me today. I appreciate it. I always want to know when people start businesses, how you got here.
Oh man, that's a long story. How I got here. I've been a bartender for in the restaurant business for about 25 years, almost, or like 28 now. And I was a bar manager, bartender, and how we got to here was I started at a place called the Happy Gnome in St. Paul about 15 years ago now. It's now closed. It's reopened as the Gnome, and they still carry the product, which is amazing. So, yeah. Props, shouts out to them. But during that time when I first got there, I was the new guy, and they had a very veteran staff of bartenders. So I was working Saturday and Sunday days, and they had like a house mix, which was okay. But I took it kind of upon myself because those about 12, 13 years ago, there was really no brunch crowd. Like there was no. Restaurants had brunches, but it wasn't like as big as it is now. Like brunches, like Saturday night now. Like people get dressed up and they do it up big. And like almost every bar or restaurant has some kind of brunch program now. Back then, that wasn't really the case. So I saw kind of a hole there. Like we had like kind of a lame like lunch brunch menu. You had like pancakes and like 1 eggs Benedict and like a sandwich. That was it. Like literally that was it. And then you could order a Bloody Mary or whatever. So I saw that there was like kind of a need there, especially at that place, because it's such a busy, popular place. Like there could be a hole there that I could fill, and at the same time I would make more money, because it would be drawing in more people and whatnot. So, working with the chef there, we kind of developed a plan to up the brunch game there, and part of that was doing the Bloody Marys. I just kind of tweaked it a little bit. Nobody really knew that I was the one making it when guests would come in, so I kind of had a captive audience there. So I took over years. Like I tweaked the recipe and take out some things, add some things, and whatnot. And then about a year or two after I started doing that, we came up with the idea of a Bloody Mary bar. So picture like a bunch of tables together, some tablecloths. We had like 10 items to start with, like, you know, meats, cheeses, whatever, some citrus, hot sauces and whatever. And we had the mix. I had like 2 other ones, like a hot one and then just straight tomato juice. And then we got that after like a couple years. We started building business, starting getting busier and busier, and the Bloody Bar became pretty popular. I started adding more mixes. Like I would just riff and just come up with stuff that day of. Like we had at one point, I think I had like 8 or 9 mixes going, different mixes. Wow. Yeah, different flavors, all of them. We had like a green tomato. We had I don't want to give away all the secrets. But we had a lot going on, and we added like at the end of the run for the Happy Gnome, we had like 40 different items for skewers, 8 different mixes. It was super popular. We won some national awards. We developed we put on an event called the World's Largest Bloody Mary Bar. So we didn't pay, because he had to pay Guinness like $10,000 to put it in the world record. Wow, really? But we did unofficially had the world record for a couple of years. Yeah. So we had we did put on a Bloody Mary bar in our parking lot, which had was relative to over 2,000 people there. We had 115, I think, different items on the bar. So
and what made you make that jump? What finally made you, hey, I'm going to do this myself?
Okay, so we got so everything was gaining in popularity. At the same time, my mother was running a nonprofit for homeless families in St. Paul.
What's that called?
It was called Family Place. Okay. So she closed her doors 3 years ago now. All right. Somebody else took over the space, and they're still running that program, but it's not the same. So she was doing benefits and galas to fundraising for her nonprofit, and so I was looking there for a way to like combine what I was doing and to help her. You know, I volunteer down there, I move beds, I do whatever. But I was looking for more substantial, more financial way to helping her. Yeah. So we started to put Bloody Marys and cocktail mixes in bottles and put it in gift baskets and, you know, donate it to her her cause, her nonprofit. And it just kind of like evolved from there. My sister Suzanne, who's my business manager, who's a force of nature when it comes to these things. She was working with my mom too, and she's the one that brought the idea first. Well, I said that like people are asking for a bottle, and she's like, "Well, that's a business. Let's do that." I have a small child at home. I have my son who's graduated from college. Like I'm good. Like I don't
stable income.
I don't really want to bring on all this stuff, but with her persistence and then being a little bit bored and not I don't say bored, but just like I could do this on the side, like side hustle. I started looking into it, and yeah, it's complicated. It was complicated. It took me maybe like 2 years just doing it part-time to figure out all the ins and outs of putting it in a bottle, getting it approved by the FDA and the Department of Agriculture, Minnesota Department of Health. It took some doing. I had to tweak the recipes to get them into the bottle. So about 2 years it took to get a label, get the label done. And then, we kind of just went from there. The whole idea in the beginning was to go wholesale to other restaurants. So pre-COVID, we had about 25 restaurants going, which was good, and it was keeping me busy. It was a good side thing and whatever. COVID, the Gnome closed, the Happy Gnome closed pretty suddenly and unexpectedly.
During COVID, it did?
Right before.
Okay.
So we closed in December. And then COVID was what?
December
March,
of 2019.
2019.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, then COVID.
So that kind of pushed you into it.
Yeah. So when we met, like, finances were really not that great because me and my wife both worked at the Happy Gnome, so we both lost our jobs, and then we were both trying to restart our careers, and there was this. I had this business, and I just wasn't sure, like, how if I could actually do that. So that's kind of how the process got started. I mean,
I think it's been cool as I talk to more people is that COVID was a huge. For a lot of people, I mean, it was awful. It's an awful time. It's been really bad for a lot of people. Mm-hmm. But there's so many people who use that to start their own business, to start doing what they want to do.
Right.
And it's like, now, my store closed. I got to find something else.
Do something, find something to do.
Yeah. I didn't know when we met you're so new in the business, though.
Yeah. I mean, so when we met, I had been licensed for probably 3 years, so that was like, so we've been on almost 5 years now. But like I said, I was slow rolling it. I was doing it as a side hustle. I had gotten a commercial kitchen. Like, I got into a commercial kitchen probably a year before, but I was like, I'm allotted 16 hours a month, and I never went over because I never used it.
Yeah.
I'd go in there and make like 3 or 4 cases, and then and then just not go back and whatever. But yeah. So we were fairly new. Yeah.
What did the wife think when you said, "Hey, I think I want to do this"?
She's been nothing but supportive.
That's great.
She's awesome. She's I couldn't ask for a better partner in this, and she helps with everything. She helps put on labels. She does the events with me. My whole family's been super supportive. Everybody's been out there trying to promote and do all that stuff. So yeah,
that's great.
And I couldn't be here without my wife and her. Okay.
No, that's good
for sure.
A lot of people have struggle where it's just like, I really want to do this, but it's really cool to have your family behind you.
Yeah. I couldn't imagine it wouldn't be a thing without her.
Yeah,
for sure.
So what were some of the biggest struggles as you kind of transitioned from being part-time to full-time? I mean, obviously you're not getting a consistent check. But what were some other, getting a label? I know we talked about getting a manufacturer sometimes. What were some challenges you had?
They continue. Manufacturing is a huge deal. We're working on getting a co-packer now. We had one earlier this year, which kind of fell through. But that's one of the biggest challenges is just being able to produce enough to satisfy all my people and get it to where I can get it into semi-regional or national chains, just for quality control or whatever. They have certain guidelines that you have to be able to meet. And I couldn't really do that from where I'm at right now. I'm doing great in the local areas, but to grow, we're going to need to have more inventory. And so that's been a challenge. Finding people to help me work, to help me make it when I do have to make it, has been a challenge. I have a really great group of restaurant friends that have been helping. So that, but everybody's got a job. But for COVID, that was a bonus because nobody had a job, so people could come in and help, and it was that worked out. Other challenges have been supply chain, getting glass, getting the bottles, getting caps. You'd be surprised the weird things that you just can't get.
Really?
Caps for the hot sauce is it's like gold. If you can find them, yeah. So, and then trying to balance my inventory with paying for stuff, trying to get 2 or 3 pallets of glass. That's $3,000 or $4,000 I don't have. So it's been interesting. That's for sure. So.
No, definitely. I know you recently got into XL Energy.
Yeah.
Tell me about that. How'd that happen?
That was great. That's a funny story. I have a lot of connections in the restaurant business, just in the Twin Cities, just because I've been in it for so long. But my contact there is Ryan Caulfield, a great guy. He used to be. We moved into our new house 5 years ago, and he was my neighbor. I've known him throughout the restaurant business for like 20 years. We were in the house for maybe a year and a half, and then I saw him walking by one day. I'm like, hey, like, I know you.
Yeah.
And then my wife is like, you know everybody, like, whatever. But yeah, I just happened to know him, and we chatted. He told me he used to be an executive chef, and then he told me he's working for XL. I'm like, oh, that's cool. You know, I have this business, and he's like, oh, okay, like that's cool too. And maybe 3 years later, he gives me a call and he's like, hey, we should meet. We should talk.
Wow.
I'm like, oh, yeah, for sure. Let's do that. And we did. We met back in last August, I think. And with a lot of these things, it's funny. Like, we met in August, but they didn't bring me in until January. So it was a long wait.
No, that's a lot of thing. I think that's a big thing I see from new business owners is that everybody wants it right now.
Yes.
You know, like, if they don't see success within a month or two, I'm going to do something else. But a lot of business doesn't move like that.
No,
sometimes it takes, like, how long did it take you? You said March?
It took like 8 months.
Yeah, sometimes it takes 8 months, right?
And that, you know, it was never like, it wasn't like, I was calling him every day, like, hey, when you bring this in? It was just like, okay, I'll see you.
Yeah.
You know, and he's been promoting it. He's very excited to bring us in. And that was a great kid for us. But,
so what does that look like? Do you go there and bartend, or how does that?
No, I sold them the product. They have it in their bars and whatever on their concourses. So,
okay.
Yeah. So they buy by the case, and it's fun to go down there. I dropped off the first few loads, and you go down to the bottom of the XL Center, and like you get to see the ice. And like,
I've actually never been there. That's like that's the one thing I haven't been to in the city. I've never been to a Wild Game. It's always sold out.
Yeah, it's always sold out. I've been to Wild. I haven't been since I've been in there, but I didn't go last year because they were doing like well.
Yeah,
so I'm sure the tickets were already up there. But yeah, that was fun. It was unexpected too. Like he was saying like we'll get you in, but like 8 months. It's just kind of like
yeah,
maybe not. But like you said, like as a business owner, yes, I want it now. I want you to be on my timeline. I don't want to be on your timeline. It's frustrating sometimes to like you have great meetings with people and then like nothing happens. But that one came through, so that was cool. That was real cool.
It was great. Well, I know the reason I especially like working with you is because I know how much other things you do. Mm. You love supporting Black businesses. Mm-hmm. What are some of the other things you're involved in around the community?
Besides the support, like, we were founded, the LoveJoy's brand was founded as a SBC, a specific benefit corporation. So we're mandated by...
Explain that.
We're mandated by the state to report our charitable donations. It's not a tax designation necessarily. We're not like a nonprofit or anything like that. But it's just a statement of how we want to run our company. People before profits. Last year we gave 5% of our revenue.
Wow,
back, which is
of revenue, not even profit.
Trust me,
wow.
It wasn't a profit.
That's incredible.
No, and it's great. It's great to be able to do that. And then we'll continue to do that as long as that's feasible to keep as long as we can keep our doors open and still do it. But right now we're donating to a couple of different organizations. Face to Face is a teenage outreach center in St. Paul. They do great work with teens and people facing homelessness. Kind of continuing on what my mother's legacy was. We do that. We love we go to the Black Businesses Beautiful Market. We love to go there and support and just show people that the culture and Black people are not like one thing. We have different. I love going there and seeing the diversity of just the products that people have. You know, and I feel like we bring something new and something that people maybe not even heard of. So yeah,
I always get mad going there because I'm just like, all right, don't spend too much money. I remember I saw you last month. I was just like, all right, don't make eye contact with anybody, and then it's just like, oh, all right, why did I spend a couple $100?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I do the same thing. Like it's the same thing, and it's fun to do that, but yeah, it's tough.
Yeah.
When I go there to vend, I'm like, I'm not buying anything.
No.
Okay, I gotta buy that.
I got it. I remember one time I was so close to the door and I saw this art piece. I was like, dang it, I gotta buy that art piece now. It was like $50. And I looked at the back and I was like, 50. I was like, all right, I already committed to it.
I put my hands on it. Exactly. Yeah, my daughters come up there and like it's like Christmas for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, they get all kinds of stuff. So yeah, for sure.
So how do you find time with 2 little kids?
Oh man. I don't.
Yeah.
No, it's been pretty easy. We have a good schedule. My wife works. She's usually done around 3:30 during the week, so I can get out and get some stuff done. My girls come with me on deliveries. They do all kinds of stuff.
They're part-time employees.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. No, it's always a hard balance, right? When you're starting your own business, people don't understand when you take that full leap.
Mm-hmm.
That gotta be your income, right? So you gotta figure it out
for sure. And I'm working 60 hours a week, but like they say, like I get to choose the 60 hours
exactly.
You know? And sometimes it's 8 to 10 o'clock at night. Sometimes it's 5 o'clock in the morning. You know. Yeah.
I love that because I knew I could when I was growing up. I was like I couldn't work a 9 to 5. Like I couldn't go to work every day and be like I have to sit in this chair for the next 8 hours. Like I would hate my life if I was doing that.
Yeah.
So I definitely, but that's not for everybody. You know, I think a lot of people love the entrepreneur route, but I think a lot of people are getting into it that probably shouldn't. You know, like if you look at your job as if you look at it as a job and not like your business, then you're never gonna get anywhere, right?
Yeah, exactly. And me being a bartender for so long, I feel like this is kind of an extension of that. I always felt like I was kind of an independent contractor when I was a bartender anyways.
Yeah.
Because you're kind of just selling yourself a little, part of, you're in the restaurant, but really you're selling yourself, especially when when you're in it for a while, you get to, you get regulars, you get people that are coming just really kind of just to see you, that kind of thing. So you're just kind of, you're out there on an island already, so
yeah,
this is kind of an extension of that.
Definitely,
extent for sure.
So what's next? What's next for the brand? What are the goals?
Goals. We have, we're trying to get to that next benchmark in sales. We're trying to get to $250,000 soon, hopefully within the next year. That'd be ideal. So just sell. We're just out here selling. We'd love to grow into the regional markets. National would be great, but right now we're focusing on regional. Maybe expanding to Illinois, Wisconsin, and trying to take those steps. It's all a process. Like it all seems it's all like daunting, right? Like 2 years ago, you told me that, like what my goals would be. I'm like, yeah, all right. Yeah, let me just get rid of this. Let me just sell this one case I got here, and then we'll talk about that. But now it's looking forward, looking to the future. Like we're really trying to make this happen. So
yeah. And then you do most of it, but do you have other people working with you?
Yeah, I have a couple of people. Like I said, my wife and my sister, my business manager. I have 2 guys, Joe and Sam, who are doing a lot of pro bono marketing stuff for me, which is awesome. They're trying to start their own house of being helping out small makers such as myself to grow to those next levels. So that's great. They're very helpful. And then I have 2 wonderful people that help me with the production. So yeah, we have a couple people. I actually have 2 official employees.
So financially, kind of with funding and how do you go about that?
So far we've just been bootstraps.
Really?
Just my sister was able to extend me a little bit of a loan. I loaned myself a little bit of money, and we're lucky in that the company's profitable, so we've been able to just put the money back in besides, the donation part. That's pretty much how it's been so far. We haven't had any outside investors yet or loans at all. So
well, that's very rare.
Well, actually, that's not true. We have an SBC loan we got during the pandemic.
Okay, everyone got one of those.
Yeah, exactly. It wasn't much, but it was. It did help a little bit. But yeah, we're currently in the market. We're thinking about maybe bringing on an investor or just doing another low interest business loan. So
yeah. Was there a time in the process where you're like, I can't do this? You know?
Yeah, like every morning. No, that's not true. No, this is fun for me. Like it's you know, I have to sometimes remind myself that this is my business. Like this is not just a job, like we were saying before. Like this is my business, and this is what I get to do. This is me going to work. Like Daddy's going to work. Like,
Yeah.
You know, I got my logo shirt, so it's easy. So I don't even have to worry about what I have to wear.
That's a good idea. Yeah.
I just put it on and just go out the door, you know, and do this. So yeah.
That's really cool. A lot of people get to work for themselves and not have a lot of loans from others. So you can really,
for sure.
the creative aspect is still there for you.
Yeah, we're trying to avoid. I mean, luckily there's a diverse and rich makers community around the Twin Cities.
Really?
Yeah, it's actually, once you tap into it, like it's pretty extensive, and everybody's got different stories. And you know, as a bartender, I just listen to people talk, and you know, I try to avoid some of the pitfalls of that people have warned me about, and you know, try to just do it as much as we grow as quickly as we can, but without, you know, taking on too much debt and that kind of thing. Yeah.
So how do you envision the Lovejoy brand in the future? Let's say 20, 30 years from now, you want to retire? Do you want to keep the brand going, or how?
Oh yeah, I would love to. I mean, 10-year goals is to build the company up enough to be able to sell it, and then what my goals would be to open up a one-stop shop for small makers, especially people of color, especially Black people. Building a commercial kitchen in the community where people can come in, test out their products, and get all the answers that I had to seek out that took me months to seek out, like under one place. Like that would be where I would take that money that I sold the company for and invest it into that. That would be really cool. The goal. Yeah. So yeah. And then I retire. And honestly, you know, coming back to like what you do, yeah, you know, being in the restaurant business for so long, like you don't have the 401k, you don't have all that stuff. So this is kind of it. This is the shot I'm taking for now, you know. But I'm 46, so like we're on the clock.
Yeah.
As far as like getting together for retirement and all that stuff, you're helping with that. So yeah, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. That is a little educational piece I want to tell people, is that a lot of people think when you work as either a contractor or self-employed, you can't have that retirement, but you can actually put money away. And a lot of people avoid that. And that's what we're working on now. Right. That small businesses don't know. There is like SEP IRAs, simple IRAs for small businesses and contractors out there. And so I really want to get that in the community.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because a lot of people, I hear that all the time. Hey, I'm going to retire off my business. It's a good idea, but we really want to have that security there.
Yeah,
you know?
Exactly. Like looking for that one payoff is that maybe not going to happen. Maybe it will. Who knows? But the reality is, once that happens, then maybe you don't end up with as much money as you think you're going to end up with. Maybe you even have to pay.
Yeah.
to get someone to take your business. So working with you and figuring out some kind of plan for our future is huge.
Yeah. Well, I'm guessing we have a lot of questions here. We can answer some from people listening. First question: how do you sell your product? I know we talk a little bit of wholesale, but do you also do any retail?
Yeah, so like I said, we started off wholesale to restaurants, and we pivoted during COVID to more retail and online sales, which worked out pretty well to have like feet in both worlds. You know, we have a distributor now, AM Craft Spirits, so they're getting us out there. So we're 70 or 60-40 wholesale to retail. Retail is a world that I don't really know that well. I don't have a ton of contacts, but it's working out okay.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Next question: do you have a mentor? Just someone?
I have millions of mentors. All I do is listen to people, and I try to take all that in. But my sister Suzanne she's a lifelong. She's my older sister. She's a lifelong entrepreneur. So she's had many different businesses, some varying degrees of success. But she's she's the one that keeps me going. And like, when people are like, this probably won't work, but she's definitely a driving force and the mentor behind all of this.
I can definitely see that. I had a chance to meet her last week, and I can definitely see that.
Yeah.
I can see that in her.
Yeah, and my niece too. If you know both, you get it. Yeah, for sure.
So, what's the biggest weakness as an owner? Is there anything you decide to hire out?
If I could hire it all out, I would.
Yeah.
No, I'm financial stuff. I'm terrible with. I'm decent. I'm not really great at marketing. I can sell some stuff, but I'm the creative. All the rest of it is I don't know. So it's all a weakness. But I have a few strengths, with the product development and all that. That's their.
No, I mean, I think it's pretty common. I mean, that's really why I have this podcast and want to do what I'm doing, is that I find when you work with small businesses, they're really good at what they do. Like, I tell people, I don't like Bloody Mary usually. When we first met, I was like, all right, I'll try it. And I was like, oh, this is actually good. But they're really, really good at what they do. If that's candles or clothing or what it is. But a lot of times, there's that little educational piece that's missing.
Oh, for
right?
Sure.
Where it's, how do I save for retirement?
Yeah.
How do I get a manufacturer? How do I get into stores? Which I really want to try to help people with the podcast and just get people's stories of how they did it.
Absolutely.
Because those informational pieces are not available in the community, like you're saying.
No.
That not many people know anyone who's made anything, right? Who's made anything where it's like
from the ground up.
There's no really family business where you can look back and be like, oh, my granddad has been bottling these for years. This is how you do it.
Exactly. Yeah, we don't have that piece. We're missing that piece. Loving to be able to change that and to change that narrative, and I'm here to help whoever. Like, if people are out there trying to start something, give me a call. I have contacts. I've done a lot of the legwork, and I'm more than willing to share that information for sure.
Definitely. All right, next question. What's the biggest barrier to growth in scaling up right now?
Probably manufacturing. Just getting that a good solid inventory behind me. Early in the year when we did have the co-packer, that was like the most freeing couple months of my of this journey so far, because I didn't have to worry about getting back into the kitchen and making more, or like where the next where am I going to get my glass from next time, so to be able to offload that stuff would be huge. So
why is that so hard to find?
It's a good question. It's just for me, there's very very specific ways you have to, they have to have be able to hot fill, which is how my product is safe, because I have to heat it up to a certain level and then put it in the bottle. So some places don't do that. Some places don't work with fresh vegetables. Some places don't have the capacity. And it depends on your product. Like a lot of people struggle with this. I don't know if you've heard of Janita's jar. She has little cookies.
I don't think so.
But she just got into Target. She's
from Minnesota.
She's from St. Paul.
Wow.
A wonderful sister. You should reach out to her and have her on the show, because she's amazing. She has an amazing story. But even her, like, you would think cookies, like, oh yeah, you can probably find somebody to bake your cookies. She couldn't find anybody. Like,
really?
For years we've been going back and forth and talking about how it's been a struggle to find somebody to make it. So that would be another part of where I would want to bridge that gap from the community to that manufacturing. But that's probably the biggest barrier right now.
Yeah. Next question is, do you ever think about that 5%? You go home and be like, wow, I could have really used that 5% this month.
Yeah, actually, I do all the time. But that's just not my family is has a philanthropic nature, and it's really a pleasure to be able to do that. We'd be in better shape, but it's what we're about. I couldn't imagine doing it a different way. So
I like that. I think one of my biggest frustrations with people is that when people make it, they forget where they came from.
Sure,
like they forget the struggle they went through and how they got there, and then they leave the community, and now there's no one to show people how to get there.
Right, exactly.
So I think every business should be doing that.
Yeah, I mean, every business I can, I would highly recommend it, and it's motivating. Like it makes me want to get out there and sell more, and it makes me want to get the product out there so I can do that give back. When we first started off, that was like I would never have. I'm not a self promoter. I'm not like kind of guy that's like, oh yeah, check me out, look at me. But when it's for something else, like I could sell it.
Yeah,
so
it's like
for a good reason, for good cause. It's for a good reason. So.
Were you immediately successful? Was there an early break? And if you're comfortable, what was your initial investment to start everything?
Oh, that's a good question. Those are good questions. I mean, I had a built-in like 3 or 4 restaurants before I started. I had asked if they would bring it on
While you're bartending, you asked them?
Yeah. And these are just contacts I had. Tom and Molly Lovejoy's over at Brunson's Pub were the first people to say yes. And that's where, that's kind of what motivated me. Like, okay, if they're going to do it, then I'll actually do it.
Were you surprised?
Yeah. Like, why would you know, like, I mean, they knew it was a good product, but yeah, I was a little bit surprised. And they bootstrapped their own bar and restaurant, so there's people I look up to, and I pitched them when they were redoing their floors for the restaurant themselves. Like and he said yeah, and I was like, okay, like this could work. So that was like, it wasn't like a huge financial break, but it was like the mindset was definitely changed, and I was like, all right, I can actually do this.
I get that. When I first started becoming an advisor, when I was calling people, and like, especially when you start out, you're supposed to cold call. So that's what a lot of people do. And then I was going through, it'd be like 99 no's. And then like my first week, someone was like, yeah, I think I have time next week. And I was like, really? I was shocked. I was like,
sure?
You're taking a call from someone over the phone about your finances?
Yeah.
And then, after that, I was like, so this does work.
Yeah.
The managers always tell you, hey, keep going, you can do it. And I was like, all right, this does work. I'll keep doing it.
That's cool. That's good.
Yeah, because you just never know. Like, why would anyone say yes?
Right.
And then they do, and you're like, okay, this person then other people will.
Yeah, exactly. And that's how it all builds, right?
Yeah.
Like, for sure. Like for you, I'm sure, like same with me, like just word of mouth and like, trying to grow organically. I think that's the best way to do it. So
definitely. And I see on Instagram, I see Charles is out every weekend somewhere. It's like,
I'm trying.
So I think the second part was your initial investment.
So my sister, my business partner, my sister, it was, she was like 2 years in, but my initial investment was, I don't know, maybe whatever, $1,200 or something. It wasn't even that much. I mean, it's such a gradual process for me.
Yeah.
There wasn't a huge, like I would buy bottles online and put it on the credit card or whatever. But that stuff kind of paid for itself in the beginning. But the initial investment was less than $20,000. So,
wow.
Yeah, it was way less than
That's
that.
incredible.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah. So
you don't need to be a millionaire to start a business.
No, for sure not. And there's tons of programs out there. There's a program called AURI or AURI, I believe. It's the acronym. I don't know if it's acronym or if that's how they call it. But they helped initially with just the testing of the product and like finding the viability of whether my process was okay. They helped with education on how to get it in the bottle. Like I was trying to go through the Department of Health, and they're not helpful. They do their best, but they're not in the business of helping people with that roadmap.
Mm-hmm.
But Ari definitely has a roadmap for people, especially food bag makers. They can get you started.
Nice.
So that helped a lot. Yeah.
It's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Next question. How do you plan to plan financially as a business owner? What are the general rules?
That's not a good question for me.
No.
That's terrible. I don't know. How do I plan financially?
Do you do like your financial statements, balance sheets, and anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, they're there.
Yeah.
I have a bookkeeper that takes care of all that stuff. We were working on figuring out like a financial roadmap, for budgeting and all that kind of stuff. I'm terrible with that stuff in my personal. Business is no different.
Yeah.
It's just, it falls into place, but getting like a solid roadmap down, I don't have that yet. That will be coming. It's gonna, we have to get some things in order, but like it's a process though. So it sounds daunting, I know, and it's daunting for me, but it's also something that I just have to learn. It's just something that as a business owner, you just kind of, you have to realize you don't know everything.
Yeah.
And I don't know everything. So
I think that's really important because a lot of, when I meet with those people kind of one step below where you are, so a little less established, so they're really hesitant to get a bookkeeper, get an accountant, get these things. And I'm just like, if you really want to do it, I think it's worth it.
Oh yeah.
Because in the end of the day, you don't want to be messing up if your bookkeeping's messed up, you don't know what's coming in and out. You never know if you're making any money.
And there's no way to you're never going to get a loan. You're never going to get if you don't have that stuff together and tight. I mean, I have, we're on QuickBooks, but and there's other programs out there that are even free ones that I've heard of. I don't know. That'll help you just get it all in order, like all in one place, and so it's easy to pull up. And so with the PPP loans and all those loans, like it was super easy for me to apply because I had all that information just right there.
Yeah,
I just like download it and send it off. So getting that stuff in order and getting a sound. I mean, to me, I think about like when I hear a sound financial plan, like, oh, it gives me a headache.
Yeah.
But it's really important. And I to be honest, I do have that stuff in place. It's just I just don't know. I'm no expert on that.
That's a good thing. You don't have to be.
Yeah, exactly.
If you have people around you to know what they're doing,
right.
You don't have to be an expert on. No one can be an expert on anything.
Everything. Yeah.
And I think it's really important that. I know it's hard for business owners. I always talk. It's like how their baby, right? Mm-hmm. Sometimes you gotta let things go.
Oh yeah, for sure.
This isn't my thing.
Right.
You take this.
Right. Yeah. And like I said, a lot of it's not my thing.
Yeah.
A lot of it's not my thing. So, but you learn, and I didn't go to college a lot. I didn't go enough to graduate.
Yeah.
But like, this is kind of like a college. This is kind of like a boot camp college type of thing. Just a day-to-day learning.
You gotta learn how to help quick.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Anything promotion-wise you're doing right now, or that you would want to promote?
I just look for us out in the farmers markets and in your local stores. If your local liquor store doesn't care, let them know.
Okay.
LoveJoysbrand.com. You can find my contact and or let me know, and I can go there and pitch them myself. So,
yeah. Well, thank you, Charles, for joining me. It was great learning about how we even got here.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm a person that I don't have a lot of new ideas myself, but I love hearing how people got there.
For sure.
And being able to partner with them and see how can I make that better. That's the end of the episode. Thank you so much for watching. If you want additional resources, please go on my website, richberkley.com. I have information on how to budget, how to pay off loans, how to get out of retirement, and much more. Also, if you'd like to be featured on the podcast, please reach out to me. I like to find interesting people, interesting businesses, and also people who give back to the community. If that's you, please go on my website. It has my phone number, email, and a link to schedule a meeting with me. Thank you so much, and I hope you enjoyed the podcast. Within the community, the Black community right now, people are always like, why is it rappers? Why is it these guys who are the role models? Why isn't it doctors, lawyers, politicians? I was like, in the 60s, you couldn't even go to the top schools, right? That was my grandparents. The number one determination of who's going to be wealthy or poor is where you start from. Principles you teach your grandkids, they teach their